All right, let's dive into Moelis Company's Q2 2025 earnings. And let me tell you, this was a big one. It wasn't just a good quarter, it was a statement quarter that absolutely blew past expectations and really set the stage for the second half of the year. And that powerful tone, it came straight from the top. Chairman and CEO Ken Moelis kicks things off with this quote, basically telling everyone, hey, the choppiness we saw earlier, that's behind us. He's signaling a much better environment for getting deals done. So let's talk about those numbers. And when I say a record-breaking quarter, I mean they didn't just beat Wall Street's expectations, they completely demolished them. Let's break it down. Okay, first up, the bottom line. Adjusted earnings per share, or EPS, came in at 53 cents. Now that number might not jump off the page by itself, but trust me, the context is everything here. And here's that context. Just look at this. The street was expecting, 32 cents? Moelis came in and beat that by a whopping 21 cents. That's not just a beat, that is a massive outperformance, and a real testament to how well they're executing right now. And it wasn't just on earnings. The top line, the revenue, was just as spectacular. They pulled in a record $365.4 million for the quarter. And just like with EPS, you really got to see this number next to what analysts were thinking. I mean, check this out. The high end of the estimates, the most optimistic analyst out there, was hoping for maybe $282 million. Moelis soared past that by over $84 million. That's a 38% jump from last year. Just incredible stuff. Okay, so if we look under the hood at the company's financial health, the picture gets even better. Their pre-tax margins more than doubled year over year. And the balance sheet, wow, it's basically a fortress. We're talking almost $500 million in cash, and get this, zero debt. Absolutely none. That gives them so much firepower to do whatever they want, invest in growth, hire top talent, or give cash back to shareholders. So you have to ask, right? How did they pull this off? What was the secret sauce this quarter, especially when things started off so shaky in the markets? Well, it really comes down to how the quarter played out. It was a classic tale of two halves. The quarter kicked off in April with what Ken Moelis himself called market chaos, which basically put a freeze on new deals. But then, around mid-May, things started to thaw out, and in the last 5 or 6 weeks of June, man, they just floored the accelerator, and that final sprint is what really powered these incredible results. And the best part? Management is basically saying this isn't a one-time thing. They're telling us their pipeline of future deals is at near record levels. And why not? The big picture looks great for them. M&A is up globally, investors are getting more comfortable taking risks, and there's a ton of capital out there ready to be put to work.
Now, a really big piece of their future growth story is this aggressive bet they're making on something called Private Capital Advisory, or PCA. You can think of their strategy here in a few steps. First, they went out and hired some of the best bankers in the space. Second, they're focusing on a niche called secondaries, which is basically trading existing stakes in private funds. This is super smart because those deals close way faster. And third, it all fits together perfectly with their main M&A business.
And just to be clear, they are not messing around here. They're not just dipping their toes in the water. Ken Moelis said it himself. He sees this as a massive opportunity, something that could be a couple $100 million business for them. It's not just a side project, it's a future pillar of the firm. Okay, so the quarter wasn't just about the amazing numbers. There were also some really big announcements about the future of the firm. We're talking leadership changes and some major clues about what they plan to do with all that cash. So here's the plan. On October 1st, co-founder Navid Mahmoodzadegan is stepping up to the CEO role. But this isn't some dramatic shakeup. It's a really smart, planned transition. Ken Moelis is moving to executive chairman, where he can focus on big-picture strategy and clients. Meanwhile, Navid, who's been a key driver of their growth, takes the helm. It's all about continuity and playing to their strengths. Now, this is a big one, especially for investors. Remember that fortress balance sheet we talked about? Well, management came right out and said they have, quote, more excess capital than we want or need. And they basically telegraphed their next move. Expect share buybacks to play a much bigger role from here on out. That's a huge signal. All right, let's wrap this all up. We've got a monster earnings beat, a super optimistic outlook, a smart growth plan, and a promise to return more cash to shareholders. So here's our take on what this all means for Moelis going forward.
With a quarter this strong and so much momentum, it all boils down to one simple question. What's the call on Moelis?
We think the strength is going to continue. For next quarter, Q3, we're penciling in earnings around 48 cents a share. Why? Well, that massive pipeline should start converting, and we'll see the new PCA business begin to contribute. But that together with the strong fundamentals and the hint of more buybacks, and we see continued positive momentum for the stock price.
So our official rating here at Talk Tickers for Moelis Company is outperform. They're just firing on all cylinders, flawless execution, smart strategic moves, and a clear focus on shareholders. At this point, the question really isn't if they can keep this momentum going, it's just how far it can take them.
And of course, just a quick reminder that this is for informational purposes. This is not financial advice.